All right. Good morning, everybody. I am getting this all set up here. People are starting to log in. Feel free to drop me a little chat note, a Q&A, anything you want. Say good morning. And as we get rolling here, we will do a open Q&A. And we're going to do it where I will unmute everybody so you can raise your hands and all that kind of stuff as we go. And we will answer any and every question that we can. Good morning, Evan. And Lauren is on. Good morning, Mark and Lindsay. Good morning, everybody. East Coast, Lindsay. It's good to hear from you guys. What a time, huh? Evan, I'm allowing you to talk, buddy. Go ahead. What's up, my man? Maybe you have to unmute yourself, eh? Unmute. Mute. Unmute. Ev, are you hitting your unmute button, buddy?
Yep, you got it.
Oh, there you go. Good, man. What's up, bud?
Good to hear you, man. How are things?
Good, buddy, good. Lauren, I'm turning on your mic. Lindsay, you are all permitted to talk. Mr. Mark.
Hello, Lauren. Hello, Lindsay. How are you guys doing?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Guess it's a little bit later in the day for coffee for you guys, huh?
Never
Coffee's good.
too late for
Yeah, right. Coffee's always good.
Coffee's good anytime.
Anytime.
All right, Mary. Good morning, Mary. I'm permitting you to talk. If you'd like to be muted, you are all welcome to mute yourselves at any time. The dogs start barking or the kids come running in, feel free to mute on there. We'll let everybody get logged in here for a few minutes, and then anybody that has questions, we'll let you fire away. You do have a little hand hold a question toggle you can put up on your request page there. And if I see that little hand pop up, like I see Evan's right now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, it just means that Evan has something he wants to say. So I will call on him and
okay, never mind.
Tell me about all of his greatness, and then we'll clear the hands and let whoever wants to come up next, and anybody wants to
cool.
jump in, add in information. That way we're not all talking on each other, you know?
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, there we go. I'm on.
There he is. There you go, Mark. How you doing, buddy?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good. All right.
Morning, Mark.
Marty.
Hi, Lauren.
Marty, I'm
Hi.
allowing you to talk. So you're welcome to mute yourself or unmute yourself. It's totally up to you.
Hey there, can you hear me, Robert?
Yes, I got you.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for being here.
Love your stuff.
Hey, thank you. That's nice to hear. Appreciate it.
Yes.
You got stuff?
I got a little bit of stuff.
He's working on stuff.
Always working on it. That's right. I don't know about you guys, but I've been more busy now than ever.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah,
Yes.
constantly
100%.
doing stuff and trying to develop more and get more.
Yep.
Good morning, Meg. Meg, you are unmuted. You are welcome to, I'm giving everyone permission to talk, Nicole, which is just a release of your mic on my end, but you're all welcome to mute yourself or unmute yourself if you have something you'd like to add in. Good morning, Rocky. Let everybody
Good morning, Robert.
in here. How you doing, bud?
Holding on, buddy. Doing pretty well, actually. Just
Good.
finding challenges and opportunities every hour on the hour.
Nice. Yeah, we were just talking about that. Allison, your mic is on if you'd like to unmute it on your end. Yeah, we were just talking about how we're all pretty busy. Everybody on social media keeps talking about all this free time that they have, and
Yeah.
and we're like, I'm not seeing that.
Yeah. Right.
I've
Twice
never
as
worked
busy.
so hard. Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're in a constant state of troubleshoot, you know?
Yep.
So Hope, I just turned on your mic there. You're all welcome to turn your mics on and off as you wish as we go through today. And we'll let a couple more people hop on, and then I'll start to open things up a little. We'll kind of talk about our our little guidelines and our process for today, but this is really on all of you. Any questions that you would like to go over, any discussions, it can be anywhere across the board. We can jump all over to whatever everybody wants. So feel free to dive in. And anyone that has a answer they'd like to share, feel free to virtually raise your hand, and I'm just going to kind of moderate everybody. Beth, I'm going to turn on your mic, and Lisa, you too, I'm turning on your mic. And just remember, you can always mute yourself at any point. Okay, just because your mic's on doesn't mean it has to be on. So if you want to just listen in, or if you want to chime in at certain points, feel free to turn on and off as we go. And if you definitely have some kind of noise coming from your end, dogs barking, kids yelling, that kind of thing, if you can mute yourself, that would be fantastic. So let's give like 3 more minutes here. We'll let a couple more people pop on. You guys could have seen this. We have security cameras in our house, and we hear the kids. I'm in here getting ready for this, and I hear the kids yelling, and they're it's playful yell. So you guys know there's like panic yell and playful yell. So I hear playful yell, and then all of a sudden I hear "ow," and there's a moment of silence, and then I just hear frantic screaming. And so I bring up the camera after I break it up, and my youngest, my 2-year-old, she got hit in the lip, and then she just beat the shit out of my 6-year-old. I mean, like full MMA ground and pound. She was like, "I've had enough." We're watching the video, and I'm trying not to laugh, because I'm like, you deserved it. You pushed her enough to where, she finally let her have it. She's like, hey, that's it. And then I'm thinking, like, maybe I shouldn't watch those MMA videos in front of them. She's got some good techniques, because she took it to her. I'm kidding. I don't watch those in front of them. But it was pretty entertaining from a parent standpoint. I guess we don't always have to be the perfect disciplinarian, right?
Right. So
All right, Leslie, I'm gonna allow you to talk here. Leslie, feel free to mute your mic if you'd like.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great.
Nice. Thank you for joining us, and appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I'm one of Lindsay's friends.
We like Lindsay's friends here. We allow them here.
Yeah.
She's definitely allowed.
Uh,
Hi, Leslie again.
Friends.
All right, 1 more minute. I'll let a couple more people come on, and then we'll start chatting. So kind of the basic outline for today, this is just an open forum for everybody to have whatever discussions they would like. You feel free to comment in the chat or in the Q&A. I have that open as well. But if you'd like to just come on via your mic and ask the group a question, I'm just going to moderate. You have a opportunity there to raise your hand, a little digital raise your hand. If I see that pop up, I will swing over to you, and you can ask the group your question or make your comment. And then if anybody wants to answer from there, you can raise your hand as well, and I'll click over to you, and we can all share and kind of do whatever. I think this way will work a little better than all of us trying to talk over each other with 15 people on. So anybody want to start us off with any questions, comments, concerns, anything they're experiencing they want to know more about, they want to prepare for?
Yeah, I have something.
Yeah, go for it, Mark.
I have to bleach my wife's hair this afternoon. Any suggestions?
That would go blonder.
Don't do it, right?
Wear gloves.
Stay in your lane, buddy. Stay in your lane.
That's what I was trying to tell her that, but
Good luck. Any business related comments? I guess we'll go there. Huh? Don't be shy, anybody. Go ahead and dive in. This is for all of you. So this is why we're here.
What have we found? And I know my wife has been on top of all of this. What have we found as far as like, that stimulus package around, employee compensations?
Mm-hmm. From what I understand and what I've seen, it's up to like 8 weeks, I think, is what we're kind of currently looking at, that you can get subsidized in there without a repayment or without a need to pay any interest on it or anything like that. I think it's kind of and Rocky, I'll come to you next, buddy. I think that's kind of a grant, if you will, from the government to help support employees there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm not exactly sure what the guidelines are for certain businesses and if they're independent contractors versus employees, if they're working a certain amount of hours full-time or part-time and such. So Lindsay, why don't we pop over to you? You got your hand up. Rocky, I saw you put your hand down. So if you got something, just throw your hand back up there, buddy. Go ahead, Lindsay.
I'll just, this is not necessarily maybe clarification on it. The thing I caution, and I think I'm just seeing a barrage of information both in the industry and then people in other businesses out of our industry. And I think we need to be really careful about like the information's changing literally hour to hour. So what was open yesterday for application, then it really wasn't. And the banks don't even know. A lot of banks aren't even choosing to be a lender. So I think my sort of order of priority for a business owner would be, number one, you must just contact your bank. If you don't have a lender or a banker or a CPA, number one, like core business lesson number one, get those. They need to be literally on speed dial for you 4 times like these. But if not, you've got, find the expert. Like, don't try to navigate this yourself. They're the ones, they're virtually spending every waking moment figuring out how this applies, how it impacts their clients. So kind of going right to the source. So finding a lender, finding a banker, to find those, if you don't have those, I'd say go to your local, like look at the Chamber of Commerce, look at any of your economic development, like your state and local, because they'll have resources for the local lenders. The SBA, is big, but a lot of them have the local. So again, I would just, we could go into talking about the specifics, but, and I think we can to a degree. I would just not take, I guess my biggest thing is like, just be careful about, like, don't take this information proverbial to the bank. Does that make sense? I don't know if that helps, but
it's changing day to day and state to state.
It's changing day to day. And like, just what Evan said, like, Mark, like, stay your lane. Don't become a hairstylist today. And we all don't need to become like lenders and banking specialists. Like, find the people who can do this for you, or at least help you navigate. So like, in short, there's a couple different ones. There's the PPP, which is the Payroll Protection Program. That's going to be, if you have payroll. As of right now, I do not believe that it is covering independent contractors. So if you have independent contractors, they are technically self-employed, but that is one of the stipulations that is very fluid right now. I think they're trying to get coverage. And then the other one is the emergency funding, but there's a lot of stipulations. You're going to have to provide information, but yeah, I'd say go to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. They have some nice navigation tools. The U.S., like the National Chamber of Commerce, they're the ones working, like, they're the small business advocates, so they're helping navigate a lot of this. So that's my 2 cents. I don't know if that's helpful, but
that's great.
Yeah, don't try to navigate it on your own.
Yep.
Rocky, coming to you, bud. Go ahead and unmute yourself there.
So yesterday, my wife had a whole bunch of tasks in regards to transitioning business online, but she spent the entire day trying to navigate the loans that were going on. So from a personal perspective, it's a nightmare out there with the banks not knowing what it is that the U.S. Treasury and Small Business Administration is requiring from them. So there's a lot of confusion in the communication. And Friday morning was supposed to be up and running. And as soon as some of the bank's websites accepted applications, thousands poured in. However, there's quite a few things going on. It was supposed to be 0.5% interest, and they raised it to 1% interest, which still isn't enough to really protect the banks themselves. So they're reluctant to be taking on, as you heard just a moment ago, some of these loans. The PPP, the Payment Protection or the Payroll Protection Plan, is what we're trying to get. It's basically what you're trying to do is find out how much your payroll is for a month. And that's essentially it. There's a whole bunch of different words that are getting out there, different opinions and so on. But as of yesterday, our bank, which is headquartered out of Detroit and is a fairly large bank, was not up and running. Yet meanwhile, Chase and Bank of America were for some time, and then they dropped again. So the bottom line is we're not relying upon getting any money whatsoever in terms of helping to cover costs or anything. So as nice as that might sound to get some coverage for payroll and a $10,000 grant that you don't pay back, I would go forward from this moment on with just plan for the worst, expect the best. And so don't rely on anything coming your way. I would say, let's focus on, okay, how can we turn this to our advantage and go from there. That's my 2 cents.
I'm with you, Rocky. And Lindsay, I saw your hand go back up again. Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, I just want to give a big virtual high five to Rocky, because I think that's really important. Like,
Yeah.
I see a lot of business owners exerting a ton of energy on this. And while it'll be a good safety net, be cautious of where we're investing our time right now. If you get it, great. Have somebody help you navigate it, ideally. But right now, your focus should be on, like, if I don't get this, how can I still, like, push this business forward in a positive direction.
Agreed. Yeah, I have kind of a question to the group. With the pursuit of us returning to business, is there a direction or a route that we can pursue some progression of legislation, or however that might go, where we could have like a health inspection of our facility that shows our spacing, the cleanliness of our equipment, the procedures we're going through? Like, as we kind of go back through this, I'm assuming that they're going to go from like essential businesses and then progress down. And I'm not assuming gyms are going to be in the first wave or second wave of that. So any thoughts on how we may be able to kind of navigate our way back up? Or Lindsay, with the relief fund through URSA, is there any other pursuit with them to help us kind of get back to business as usual quicker? Any suggestions or thoughts on that?
If I can, I don't know URSA right now. That's fascinating, because I have to be honest, I really wonder how far are people even thinking, like, the actual re-emergence of business, and maybe they're thinking of it, but what's the priority action, the urgent action right now? I think that's maybe from a larger standpoint, it's a really good point though. Like, is there a standard, just like restaurants have standards for, they get rated by the, the food and beverage and all that is, but I think if there's not a bigger organization doing that, first of all, the consumer would have to know, like, oh yeah, URSA or whatever organization, the health department, like, health departments don't come and check us out, so that's a really interesting point. But I think though, what is in our control is, much like I saw everybody over communicating the cleanly, like the routines, like we're cleaning, we're re-cleaning, this is what we do. The more you can communicate that to help people feel comfortable and confident, have it posted, have it, reiterated and communicated. I think that's what's in our control.
Yeah, I mean,
as we do roll back in. But that's a good point. That needs to be brought up somewhere.
Yeah, I look at this from working with older adults, and having my environment be safe with them. What steps can I kind of go through to really bring home to them that we are, we're checked off, we're cleared off, we're using the highest quality clean, all that kind of stuff, to let them know it's kind of safe to come back. So Mark, I saw your hand pop up, and then if Rocky, if that's a return of a new hand, I'll come to you next. But
in thinking about the reopening of it, I don't think there's going to be a legislation or something we can pursue in that to that extent. But I do think we'll probably reinitiate in stages, keeping up the guidelines we sort of set in place before we got locked down. Greater distance between people participating, as you did, and we were eventually doing this is your own equipment. You're not sharing equipment during a class or a session. Cleaning, re-cleaning, cleaning in front of them, getting them to clean. All those things are going to be the stepping stone back in, so that they feel safe coming back. The more we can highlight that, and here's what we're doing, I think the easier it'll make it for them to come back to you.
Yeah, I agree. Rocky, coming to you, buddy, if you have a comment.
Yeah, so in terms of my situation is, well, first of all, the essential business is a gray area. It is not completely well defined. And In our case, we're, of course, don't have clients coming in, and we're training exclusively online. But I do come into my studio to video a lot of the workouts. Now, we have government contracts with local agencies and the main hospital here as well. And we provide their staff with services. So, you know, my attorney, who's actually up in your neck of the woods in Sacramento for labor law, we've just consulted that firm and said, okay, well, what's our situation? They say, well, you know, continue what you're doing with all precautions in place, but just go from day to day. So I don't know if that helps anybody else, but I mean, we are in the gray area. I don't have the wherewithal to how do I say it? To do a lot of, I mean, I could do home-based workouts, but there's something about actually being coming into the studio, locking myself in, putting the camera on the tripod, going, and then coming directly home. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but
I'm doing the same thing. It makes me feel kind of normal and like I'm in some kind of regular routine, you know, at least, and it looks more professional too when you're filming and such from the gym. That's for sure. Lauren, you had a hand?
Yeah, I just, I've been listening to all the comments, and I think that, you know, we have to be mindful of, again, everything is changing daily. I know in Kentucky, they rarely talk about fitness centers, and that's, of course, my life and a lot of my friends' lives, but it doesn't seem to be all that important to the world right now, at least where I am. And I think that the idea of reopening and what's going to happen to businesses, we can certainly sit and guess what could happen, and we can take whatever steps that we need. But I look back on a week before we closed and how I felt in the week that we did close, and now we're 2 weeks out, and so much has changed, and my ideas about things have changed so much since then. I would predict within a month or 2 months or however long this is going to take, 3 months, things are going to be very different as well. My prediction is that a lot of these smaller fitness centers won't make it. I've already heard of a lot of business owners here in Louisville that are already thinking of closing their doors. I think that a lot of the bigger gyms are going to be hit pretty hard because, you know, depending on the cleanliness of that situation, if it's highly crowded, you know, they're predicting a resurgence of this in the fall. I'm sure a lot of you have heard. So, you know, I'm planning on, my business is already intimate and small and very clean. I'm planning on opening as normal, but I have to, you know, understand that they're more than likely, with some of my older adults, going to be some people who prefer not to be in that environment. And I know my husband's parents are living in the country, and they said they're under quarantine until there's a you know, some sort of an antidote for this. So that may be 18 months, because if they feel like if they go out in public, they're going to be at high risk. So I think this is going to be a case by case basis. I think, like as Lindsay said, we need to be very, you know, upfront about what our cleaning practices are. Opening the facility and pretty much predict that there will be some people that won't come back because they're too afraid. There will be people that will be dying to come back. And if they already trust you in your cleanliness, they will feel good about coming back. I do a lot of hands-on work with people. I just listened to a big webcast with Greg Roscoff of MAT, and they're already looking at doing things remotely with clients and teaching people how to self-assess and switching more towards isometrics versus actually touching people. So that may change the massage industry. It may change the chiropractic industry. It may change, you know, a lot of different hands-on approaches that we have in fitness. The group fitness classes may have to be smaller than normal. We may have to start limiting some of the sizes, but I think we have to, all we can do is look at what's in front of us and figure out what we can control now. And for me, that's been navigating this online environment and trying to communicate as much to my clients and my staff as possible, because if we neglect doing that and we neglect keeping in touch with them and building their trust during this time, it won't matter what kind of practices they have, they won't feel good about coming back.
Yeah, that's the truth. Lindsay, I saw your hand go. And then Rocky, if that's the same one, I'll come to you next, buddy. Remember, this is open for everybody. So please, everyone, feel free, raise your hand on your little digital clicker there. And I'll come to you if you have a question to ask and an answer you want to provide. I've unmuted everybody, so it's on you if you want to chat and talk. Just throw a hand up and we'll come to you. Lindsay?
This brings up such a great conversation. I was thinking as you and Lauren were talking, is there, this is where maybe some of the, like on a bigger scale, when we think about everybody coming back. Now I live in a smaller town than, a Sacramento, for example, but, we have our township health department that manages things. And I wonder, this is where you start to develop relationships with, like, if I still owned my studio, I think one thing I would do is I would go, connect at some point, connect with the local health department and ask them like what things, and then almost get their seal, like, will you come in and inspect my my studio? And then your town, your surrounding area, you be the first to mark like that we've been approved by the health, they come by the health department, the local health department, we meet certain standards. Just because people do, you can say it all day long that you clean and you do these things. There is something when I don't know, like when we go into New York City and we go to, to a restaurant and they have to have the A, B, C, D, on their front window, you're looking at that official grading. And I really wonder the psyche of people right now, if they want to have some assurance from I'm doing air quotes, like a formal agency. And for smaller towns, if you have access, is that something that you can kind of lead the charge on? And that might help rest some people's mind coming back.
From the quality of the air filtration system you have to
they might have a checklist of things that we didn't even think about. And then you can use
medical grade cleaning supplies, all that. Yep. I think that's awesome. That's kind of what I was getting at that first time, is like having a way to get like the gold sticker, the approval that says like, okay, this is a good place to come back to. The floors are clean. Everything's a 5 out of 5, whatever it is. Because we've all kind of been into the meat market gyms and you're like, I'm not laying on that floor. I wear gloves not to protect my hands from calluses, but because I don't want to touch anything, like it's that kind of environment. We want to have our facilities stand up and about from that. And, with like Lauren was saying, I don't think a lot of places are going to survive this. And if we want to be on the forefront of making that return, I've already had clients that have been with me a long time that have had to stop their online training with me now because they got laid off yesterday. We had 2 of them in 10 minutes. And I'm riding this emotional high of like, hey, things are going good. We're picking up. And then I get 2 calls like that back to back. And I go, oh, brings you back to reality that it's not just you, everybody else is feeling this too. It's like, we got to do everything we can to really put ourselves in a good position to return to this, when we can. And I think pursuing some kind of like health approval or a high standard, a gold star, or whatever the rating systems are, I think this is going to be a good way to go. And then being able to boast about that on your social media and on your landing page and that kind of thing, cleanest gym in New Jersey, whatever it is, like stuff that we can, pursue like that, I think is only going to be beneficial. Lauren, did you have your hand back up?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Questions, comments? Feel free to jump around all you want. I mean, we can go to anything and everything. Lisa, let's come over to you.
Hi. Yeah, I'm in a different position than a lot of you guys. I'm not a gym owner. I'm an independent contractor at a big gym. And so from the very beginning, I actually felt pretty powerless as a trainer because the cleanliness was horrible to begin with. And since then, they have taken steps. But like, what are there any like suggestions that any of you guys would have as a
open your own gym?
Yeah, being
I'm kidding. You're better served
really
as your own
position to convince my clients who are a lot older that it is a safe environment. I mean, it's really hard to maintain that distance with other members working out and keeping my own clients safe.
I mean, I kind of half jokingly say that, but on the other side, I don't, because it's, when you're in someone else's space, how much control of that do you have versus if you had, I'm not saying you need to go and do this now because of finances and everything, but
right.
part of the reason why we opened our own spot is because I can control the environment and how it's all done and the standards we set, even if it was small. Like our first one was 500 square feet. It was tiny, so I don't know. I don't know what kind of advice to give you in pursuit of, in your current location, how well your relationship is with, who you're leasing from, and what kind of standards you can try to coordinate with them to see, how standard of cleanliness, and then how you're going to kind of rework your way back in. I think would be a good place to start. Lindsay, I saw your hand come up, and then Lauren.
Oh man, my heart is racing right now. This is what I mean by, like, I really do believe on the other side of this, the workforce and the employer-employee, or the relationship, like in terms of the career like what it looks like to be a fitness professional in this industry will look completely different. So Lisa, if I can ask you, so you're an independent contractor, it's a bigger gym, you're saying? Like, is it a
correct
franchise?
Yeah, it's a local gym, but the owner, there's several hands in the ownership, but there are about 5 different gyms within the county that I work at, and like thousands of members.
And so it's all part of one, but you're an independent contractor. So are you teaching classes? Are you training?
Both.
Okay.
I do both. Yeah.
So number one, and this obviously is not your fault, that is a huge violation. Like, you should be an employee. If they're telling you when to be there, what classes to teach, or what,
Oh no, well, yeah, as a instructor, I'm an employee, but as a trainer, I set my own schedule.
Gotcha.
As an independent contractor.
Do they give you clients though, or?
If I do new member orientations, then I'm an employee and I can get clients that way. Otherwise, it's through a referral. Like, I'll have people call me from the community based on
so you're basically
other members.
You're using their space in effect.
Correct.
You charge them. You receive the payment from them.
I receive a payment from my clients and I pay them
like rental, basically.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct.
Okay, good. So that makes a lot more sense. Because I was going to ask, when you said like my clients, there's such a gray area, especially if you're in the same. It's a unique situation because your employee, you're operating two separate roles. And my question would be, like, do they have any non-competes in your contract, both as a employee and a contractor? Because if they don't meet the standards, and you don't want to continue working in that location, I mean, technically you can take, if they're your clients and they don't have anything, like they didn't refer them, so they don't have any hold on those clients, if that makes sense. Can you just keep your clients wherever the place you deem the next best opportunity for you to? Does that make sense? That meets your
Sure. Yes, no, absolutely I could. Yeah, I didn't sign anything that way. They could cancel their membership and be like, I'm following her. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would just like double check. Where are you located?
I'm in Santa Cruz County.
Okay. It just, non-competes, I have different mixed feelings. That's not the time or the place to have a conversation about it, but I would just be really careful about, because this is going to happen. I foresee this happening across the industry. You have all of these instructors who didn't have part of their contracts or their agreements as employees, like teaching online. And now you have all of these instructors teaching online, and they're going to say like, wow, I really enjoy doing this online. I can do this myself and I have my following. And then they effectively start their own business. And do they ever want to go back to that gym where they taught? Like, especially if the time is going to be significant where that in-person experience is really unforeseen. So
right.
I don't know if that answers your question, but I would start looking as how, since you do basically have the opportunity, they are legitimately your clients, start forward thinking into how can you kind of, this is so overused right now, but like pivot out of their location and get creative with maybe partnering with some of the smaller boutiques, and that might be a good collaboration opportunity.
Right.
Now you go in truly as a contractor, you pay them rent. It helps their bottom line. That's just where some creative collaboration might come in.
Yeah, and I've even thought about, converting my small garage into a studio, because my future is actually I'm going to be going to nursing school, but I'm just thinking of the time between now and then when I start and what I can do to continue making money. So
takes a lot of the pressure of, as long as you just are wise in terms of getting the appropriate coverage and liability coverage and risk management, all that sort of like business nitty gritty.
Right.
Okay, so Lauren's hand come up. Lauren, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I think Lindsay said a lot of it already, but I just wanted to add to her what she was saying, which I completely agree. I had that experience a long time ago. Back in 2008, I was the group fitness director of 3 clubs in Louisville, 3 big box gyms. And the cleanliness of the clubs was just getting worse and worse and worse. And, you know, when you work in a place like that, unfortunately, it is a reflection upon you, regardless of whether or not, and Lindsay's right, it is not your fault. But the fact that you're there, it does reflect poorly on your relationships with your clients, because you're having to conduct these classes and these personal training sessions in an environment that's just not conducible for health and hygiene. So I think one of the things that we have to keep in mind about what this virus has done, I always try to look for the positives and what I'm supposed to learn from things. And I think for all of us, we can definitely say that this virus has pushed us into areas that we maybe have already known in the back of our minds for a while, but we just never had the urgency to do these things and to push ourselves forward in our careers. So this sounds like something that you've kind of noticed for a while. And so maybe this time that we're all sort of down and really can't work the way that we want to, we all need to start thinking of, how can I use this time wisely, so that when I do get back to working again, how do I propel myself to the next phase of my career? So it sounds like you've already got a plan in terms of, you know, where would you put this business? What are the skills that you bring to that organization that are unique to you? Because there are a lot of online people out there. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of gyms are going to continue to offer online things in some way, shape, or form. So we have to start thinking about, what are the things that make us unique, and how do I use that to start moving out on my own? And I completely agree with what Lindsay said. I think, you know, reaching out to some of the higher end, smaller studios that you feel that you would be better represented in is a great place to start. And then, you know, delving into your own space. I mean, I know for myself, I did a little bit of both. When I left the health clubs, I started working in some smaller places. And then I also rented space myself so that I could start doing some one-on-one with clients. And then over the years, I ended up opening up my own wellness center. I sort of did it a little bit at a time. But I definitely think that, you know, it's kind of like you're gearing up for battle. You know, this is the time to gather up your ammunition, to put your thinking hats on, put together a business plan, really take a look at how you're going to navigate this, and start reaching out to your clients if, in fact, you don't have that non-compete or you have a good relationship to them. And I think all these online things that you're doing with them is a great place to start.
Thank you.
Totally agree. Well said, Lauren. All right,
Thank you.
gang, we've got, we still have 25 minutes left here. So any other questions or comments, feel free to raise a hand. Remember, we're here for all of you right now. Marty, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. I'm wondering how the liability insurance of different companies apply to the online training, and if that's a state-by-state thing, or if anybody's even thought about that yet.
Yeah, from my experience with this, I do mentor and work with some other coaches, and it is very much dependent upon the insurance company that you have. From what I've understood, and I think there's upwards of 60 different insurance companies out there. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 that are specific in the fitness industry. And out of those, from what I've understood and heard from other colleagues here, some are blanket no's. If they're not in person with you, then they are not under your insurance. Others are, if you have met with them in person and trained with them in person and now are writing, distance programs and coaching virtually online, that you are good. And then others are, as long as you're going through some kind of assessment and you're going through, a strategy session, you're doing your initial consultation, your interview, all your regular processes. And they said they prefer it if it was done via video. And that's kind of the nice thing about Zoom or these other services, is that it records all those. So you have, not just paper proof that you filled it out, but a video proof now, a recording of you going through it all. So you've collected all the right information to be able to write your programs and then coach. So advice would be to call whoever you have for your insurance right now and see what they currently offer you. And if you need to change insurances or add a package or an add-on to what you currently have to make sure that's covered, I think that's very proactive of you to do that now rather than just kind of doing it and hoping things don't go badly and then you're out of luck. So
do you happen to know any of the names of those companies that are doing online?
Well, I'm with Hiscox, and Hiscox does cover, with the plan that I have anyway, it does cover me with any insurances of whoever I'm training. Lindsay just posted up here, Philadelphia Insurance. I know there's other ones. K&K has multiple insurance packages. One of them was a hard no that I know of. The company that was formerly Essex, it's the package that you get with your insurance with the NSCA. I don't know the new name of that company, but if it's an independent, if you're just by yourself, it was a no. If you were a studio insurance with them, it was a yes. So that's just the few that I've had the experiences with. So I think K&K is probably nationally one of the biggest ones. Hiscox is primary for fitness. Essex or whatever it's called now, they have a very big department for that. Mark put sport and fitness insurance. Yeah, sport and fitness. Lindsay just reiterated that as well. Anybody else comments on insurance companies who you have, or if you feel like chiming in, who you have and what kind of coverage you're getting from them? No comments there. Okay. So yeah, Marty, I would contact your current company, and if you haven't done that already, and if they're giving you the no, then I would shop around a little bit and just kind of let them know when you go in. It's my experience has been with insurances here. They have like a basic package that they're going to offer. And then very similar to like auto insurance, you can say, do you want roadside assistance and how big of a deductible do you want? And you can kind of go in and like pick and choose. In some instances, depending on the company, you can pick and choose what coverages you want and what kind of reach you want and such. It's obviously going to cost you a little more for add-ons, but if that's the business model you're going to pursue, then I would do that. It's so much more worth it, in my opinion, to have this insurance and have the coverage than to go on without it and just hope things don't go badly.
Gotcha. Sounds great.
Lindsay, you just posted up a question there. Why don't you go ahead and post that and go ahead and hop on and ask that out to the group?
Sure. I'd love to hear, for those of you I'm guessing most everybody has fitness businesses here, but one question that I think is a hot topic right now, and I'd love to just maybe use that as a platform for an exchange of what's working, what's not. How are you continuing to are you charging in person? I know Mark Nutting, we talked about this a little bit when we spoke on, when was that? Friday, Thursday, whatever day that was. But are you changing your fee structure when you're going online? Are you just transitioning your current fee structure? Just think it's something that's front of mind for people and might be helpful to have a conversation around that. I have my own thoughts, but I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks.
I can chime in if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Rocky, and then we'll go to Hope.
Okay, so majority of our personal training is done in small group. Typically when it was on site, it was a maximum of 4 clients with 1 trainer, everyone having their individual programs that are guided through by the trainer on staff. By going online, we have transitioned down to a maximum of 3 clients, but kept the rates the same. We haven't reduced any rates at all, but just increased the amount of content, of instruction throughout our social media platforms, and actually provided them with what we call a goodie bag, which is a Ziploc bag that is placed outside the door of our facility. So when our clients knock on the door, we go to another door and put this goodie bag out. It has an exercise glider, a mini band, a resistance band that's a 5-foot length of medium tensile strength, a foam wedge for foot shape and placement, because we do a lot of that, as well as 2 tennis balls taped together for like foam rolling or SMR work. And that is our goodie bag, along with a little company sticker for brand placement, I guess. And that really, when it came down to it, probably cost us about $10 to put that together. And we got bulk order with the gliders, as well as all the other things I just mentioned, trying to keep our local sporting goods store in operation, as well as ordering from Perform Better and online. So we have transitioned onto Facebook for our group classes. And at first, the first 2 weeks, we were just offering free content for any and all people, regardless if they were paying continually for our monthly membership of classes. Then just beginning this week, we created a private page, which is the members only Facebook page, where we transitioned the majority of online classes to that location, also including recipes, guided meditation classes, a whole bunch of other content that we're putting on, including a question and answer forum with myself. And meanwhile, we're still having the public Facebook page there for the community as community service. We're doing kids classes, classes for seniors that normally were done at the hospital are now online on Facebook. We've been doing athletic conditioning drills and a whole bunch of other things. At least one content a day is being published on Facebook Live through that page. So we haven't changed our rates. We are looking at maybe doing drop-in rates to our classes via Zoom, Venmo, however we're going to do it. But that's the next step that we're working on this weekend. That's all.
Very nice. And Mark made a comment on there. That's great, Rocky. Same rates, added value. Very good. All right. I hope.
Correct.
Wow. Just want to say, Rocky, that's incredible. You guys are doing a lot. It's wonderful. I actually am a 1099 contractor myself for a very small boutique studio. Most of our clientele are 55 and over. We've begun training our clients on Zoom. Some are individual and some small group, meaning no more than maybe 4 people at once in the online class. No decrease in price. We decided right away, no, we're not going to devalue anything. If anything, we're going to add. Same mindset. So that's been good. We've had, I'm going to say maybe half of the clients have agreed to go online at this point. Some are still thinking about it, and they're, they have their own financial concerns and so forth. But so really that's about it. And the Facebook, we use Facebook for a social area for our clients. A lot of them, the older people, love the community, and they just love, and we'll have a Zoom meeting and they'll come on for a chat and pose questions, concerns, and fun stuff. So yeah, just trying to maintain the community and again, not decreasing any pricing and trying to add. That's about it.
The loss of community has been a really big comment from a lot of our clients, missing the connection with people. And Hope, same with you. We're an older adult facility, so a lot of our clients have reached out and said, oh, we missed the group and the banter and everybody's interactions. And so we have a client of ours who's kind of our social butterfly. She's doing a Zoom social, a Hawaii themed Zoom social for us on Monday night, where we all are wearing Hawaiian shirts and hats, and a drink is requested for you to have in hand. And she did one with one of her other groups, her book club group, and sent me a picture, and there were 40 people all on there, all dressed up in their best reading attire, the glasses at the end of their nose, and their Charles Dickens look. And it was really cute. It was fun. She said everybody had an hour where they could just kind of zone out and BS with everybody. And so I know that community loss is a very big one right now. Especially with the older pops, because a lot of our clients are widows or widowers, and they're alone. And they're being distanced from their family already, and in fear of them, getting sick or vice versa. So they're really alone now. So at least having some kind of interactions there. And, I know Mark was saying he does a lot of calls, to his clients, and I've just been picking, 4 or 5 people a day and calling them and just kind of checking in and seeing how they are. I'll send out 8 or 10 text messages a day, just checking in on people and asking them, if they're staying busy, and if they are doing the online stuff, how's it going, able to kind of stay connected with people as best we can. Because even though it's only been, 2 weeks, it feels like a month, doesn't it? Like, Lauren, or I think it was Lindsay sent me that that meme that was like this week's been the longest month ever, or something like that. It really does
What
feel
a year the last week has been.
God, it just feels like this has been the longest time. It's been so, taxing on all of us, and it really has only been, 2 weeks. So, anyhow, I think that's a key component in all this, is for us to kind of keep that community intact as best we can. And, Hope, I think you bring up a great point with that.
Well, we're lucky because ours is not a big community to begin with. So yes, the texting, I've had phone calls with my clients, so it's not too hard for me to keep up with the ones we have. So
Nice.
yeah, thank you
Very
guys.
good. Yeah, you bet. All right, the floor is open. Anyone? Questions, comments, direction, ideas, whatever you'd like. The floor is yours. That's why we're here. Lauren, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm seeing obviously I'm in a lot of mind body businesses because I do specialize in yoga at my facility. And I'm seeing a lot of businesses around me that are smaller starting to put up these SOS pages where they're asking their clients to pay, for instance, for 1 year of classes at a discounted rate to keep them open. Just sort of, it's difficult. I've kind of been wrestling around with it. We've toyed around with doing a Patreon thing with our online live classes, which we're offering right now for free to our clients. I struggle, and I've always struggled with this, because of the type of business I am in. There seems to be a little bit of a negative connotation in my community about people charging for classes online, because there are, and I understand what Rocky was saying about offering a private page, but there really are so many things out there that are free. And why would yours be anything better? And I think that there's a lot of negative connotations about people that are charging, which is just ludicrous, because all of us are struggling to try to stay open during all of this. And I'm just kind of wondering from the group, what's the kind of message when someone puts up some kind of a page and says, please help, please donate, please pay for these classes? Because I'm seeing multiple studios do this now. And then, of course, with me, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and ask me if they can pay. So, there's a interesting thing where I feel like, especially with yoga teachers, it sometimes makes me feel it's difficult to charge for things sometimes that help people, especially things that are sort of feel-good type fitness classes. And I just think there's a little bit of a gray area. I know my father gave me a really long talk about how much it's going to mean to my clients to be able to give them these things during this time, and how they're going to all rush back if I'm benevolent during this time. But then there's a real business part of it too. So I'm interested to hear some of your thoughts about that.
All right, I saw Lindsay's hand go up, and then we can follow with Rocky. And remember, everybody chime in, please feel free.
I've been talking and thinking about this a lot lately. Is, we have a challenge just by nature of what we do. We're just giving altruistic people, and the struggle between being altruistic and being pragmatic is a real one. And I think there, especially in times like these, I think there's a time to do, or there's a way to do both. And I can see where that challenge, there's a couple things. So the question you asked is, what's sort of the perception around doing the SOS pages and asking? If I were to look at it, I think a lot of people, like you said, you have clients who are offering you money, amazing, and people are so giving right now. I just would be wary, or just cautiously optimistic, if you will. If you can't deliver those services, or if they're putting up money with some sort of expectation at the end of all this, whatever that means. And, right now everybody is buy local, be local, be local. And it'll be just really interesting when it starts going into personal survival mode, much like, Robert, you said your clients, the first thing, I bet they would love to give you money, but the reality is they can't afford it anymore. And so that's where I think I would be cautious. I think there is a way to do both, in the sense that, is there a way to rally? Somebody posted this, so I can't take credit for it, but almost create, and this would mean some relationship in your local business community, where you create, those like coupon books that all the high schools sell, where there's some sort of service or give back, but they're actually paying for it. The community's paying for it. And you get 10 businesses together, and, the pizza guy gives something and you give, access to your private group, and then you split the funds, or even a percentage. I've been seeing a lot of fitness studios doing like a 50-50. And I think clients appreciate that. So 50%, so we're doing an online, 30-day daily self-care yoga. And you're going to join this you'll have private access to this group. I'll give you certain services. It also gives a short period of time, so it's not indefinite. 50% we are keeping because we need to keep this business going. So we're here for you physically in a different, when we can open back up, and 50% will go back into the community. Maybe you're sponsoring a family, or maybe you're giving it to the food bank. I don't know. But the 50-50 is almost a way, I thought that was really clever, to toe the line between doing what you need to do from a pragmatic business standpoint and letting people know. People get that. And I hate to say this because this might sound like I'm coming off as insensitive, but unfortunately the businesses that think you have to give away everything for free, those unfortunately are going to be the ones who probably just won't make it through this. And at the end, people need us, and people need us to stay in business. So maybe that was a little bit of a soapbox, but maybe some takeaways.
I agree with you. Rocky, coming over to you, bud.
Yeah, thanks. In regards to the request for paying for classes, yoga in Santa Cruz, at least, there's many that will ask for a donation of any type. So that's one way of doing it, saying, we're offering you this complimentary content because we know there are those people struggling out there. Yet at the same time, if you find that you are still able to earn income, then you might want to consider providing a nominal donation so that we may continue also providing you with the content you're so enjoying. So that might be one way of doing it. Fortunately, the proximity to Silicon Valley in my studio is such that I actually have a few clients that are just continuing to pay, but not necessarily desiring services. So they're generously just keeping the bills, keeping paying for us without asking anything in return because they value the stuff that we do. Now, that's just there's only a handful of people that are actually doing that. The majority, getting to Laura and I can't remember who else was bringing it up, but the community aspect is I can't underline that enough. The connection that we must maintain with our clients on a daily basis is pivotal in our survival at this moment, because everyone is sheltered in place and they don't have the constant connection with so many people. So we reach out on a daily basis, whether it's simply a text over a Facebook message, a phone call, or video, and we ask them, how are you doing today? And really mean that in the question we ask. How are things going? Are there things that we can do to help you in any way possible? And that in itself is worth so much. And not to take it into the business realm, but we are in the business of caring for people. And this is really when all things are falling apart, this is where we shine. So if you're wondering, how do I keep my clients? Then keep them close and just continue to keep the conversations going. How is your day going? You know what I would like to do is I'm going to have Zoom available at 8 p.m. every night. And I'm just going to have this link be open and we can just have a simple conversation and see, how's your day going? There's many people that are living on their own and have nobody in their household and they are so lonely. So that's my recommendation.
I love it. Hope, I saw your hand come up.
Yeah, hearing a lot of good things here. Yeah, again, our studio is so small and the community is very close. I guess we're blessed in that, first of all, most of our community is not impoverished. There are a lot of retired people who've done very well, hence their ability to begin with to afford our services. We've had some very generous people in our community offer to help us. No expectation other than that they're helping us survive, and they've been very kind. As for free things, yeah, the community stuff, of course, is all free, and that's the most important piece, is keeping everybody happy and connected and all that sort of thing. I personally have a problem with people that expect high-end services for nothing, even in a time like this. You know, let's be honest, fitness training, yoga, all of this is an add-on. Survival is food and shelter. Yeah. So, you know, I just don't have a problem with maintaining a price point for our help. And yes, all my clients know they can go online and grab a workout from any video on YouTube. That's not what they want. Not to sound like a jerk, but they want me. They want Stephanie. They want Tom. You know, they don't want some unknown instructor online. They could surely do that. Yeah, that's my soapbox.
I completely agree. Yeah, very good. I saw Lauren, I saw your hand up. Did you have one more?
No, I'm sorry, I did not.
Okay, no worries. All right, gang, well, we're getting close to the end here. Did anybody else have anything they wanted to ask here? We got about 4 or 5 minutes left. Now's your chance to fire away one more question. Any other comments? Marty, go ahead, bud.
I just think this is a great opportunity from a business standpoint that you can, you know, stand out above all the kind of riffraff, the big gyms. And, you know, after all this is said and done, I think people are going to focus a little bit more in on their health and fitness and, you know, immune system, you know, whatever it is. But I think after this, I think if we, you know, give away a little bit, or, you know, invite people that may have left you already, or friends and family, I think that's just important, you know, whether you look at it from a business aspect or just being part of the community. I think it's the end result is the same, really.
Yep, I agree. I do think you're going to have a great opportunity on the end of this as people return to hopefully thrive back into this, with a large number of people wanting to place a greater emphasis on their health, especially with a disease like we're dealing with now. And it has such a, you know, an aggressive nature towards those that are, you know, susceptible to it and have weaker immune systems and higher body fat content and all the other, you know, information that's coming out on that. Hopefully that should inspire people to, you know, take their health and wellness to a new level, or at least to a greater concern. So, yeah, I think as long as we can all stay the course and hang in there, you know, hopefully greener grass on the other side, you know, as we get through. So, closing comments from anyone?
Just one quick one. I put together a kids home fitness program dressed up as Spider-Man. Yes. And it's actually doing quite well on Facebook. There's about 2,000 views or so on. But if you've got friends and family that would like to keep their kids active for about 30 minutes and giggling, then they can just go to Facebook and look my name up, or Rocky's Fitness Center. And if you're doing it yourself, fantastic. Maybe it'll give you some ideas too. But the more people we help, the better. So, Robert, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the second round, and I look forward to another one if we do it.
You bet. Yeah, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to do it. It does give me a opportunity to connect with all of you. It makes me feel like I'm still in the industry. I was looking so forward to SCW and you know, a lot of these other events that are now, you know, AFS and maybe FAI and these ones that are getting canceled. But you know, it's still nice to stay connected to our industry and to get to chat with all of you. So I do appreciate you all being on here. And yeah, if there's a demand and a request for this, maybe in another week or two, I'm always happy to host these. You know, it gives us a chance. We had over 60 people register. We had about 20 at a high point on here live with us. So we'll see how many people view the recording and such. But if you're all up for it, I'm happy to do another one in a week or 10 days. And kind of gives us a good chance to check in and see where everybody's at and what practices we're all doing and work our way through it. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being on.
Thank you, Robert.
Have a great day. It's my pleasure.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Y'all
Take
be-
care.
Thank you.
Bye.